some nice ways and some less, but pretending to be a student to get all sorts of information, start working on a business plan. Got back to Israel, and then as any good business, I mean, you can never be too proud of a business at work, because I really believe it's a lot of luck, just as much luck as it is skill. Luck played its part, where I was in contact with a company overseas for buying technology, and at the same time, my now partner, I didn't know at the time, we were studying in Seattle in France, and was doing the exact same thing as I did, and the supplier sent an email to him by mistake with my name. And so that's how we hooked up, sort of some very suspicious meetings. Who are you and what are you doing, or whatever. Eventually we worked out that we're both the small guys, and that's not really the challenge, and we decided we're going to work together. And from there on, we brought another person in. We're looking for 3 people for the team. We spent about, I'd say, close to 9 months working on the business plan and setting things up in order to start the company. There's a lot of, it's a car-to-go or car sharing. For anyone who doesn't know, essentially, it's we have a fleet of about 200 cars now, spread around the city. About every 150 meters, 200 meters in Telalivit, you have one of our cars. If you want to use it, you just you go online or with your phone or whatever you want, make a call to our customer service, which is 24 hours a day. You say, okay, I want this car, which is on the corner of Dizengoff and Dizengoff and King George. You go to the car, you get this little smart card. You swipe the smart card, that's what opens the doors. You get into the car, you drive, you take it for an hour, 2 hours, whatever you want. You bring it back, there's saved parking, it's open off the parking, and you pay by the hour. So yeah, so we started working on this business plan, essentially, all of us. It started off in Rehovot Yaakov in a building which had burnt down, where we had somebody who knew the owner of the building. So we took the floor of it, we painted it, we stole electricity from the neighbors, we stole internet from the neighbors. There was no windows, there was no anything. We sat there for about 9 months just trying to work shit out and get everything together so we could get this company up and running. We were naive enough at the beginning. We knew that the exact opposite of Jeremy, I guess, that we didn't want to go for slow growth. We knew that we had to grow fast. Otherwise, essentially, we're just going to prove the idea that works, so that all the big guys can come in and take over and make the money off it. And so we knew from the very beginning that we wanted to bring in an investment so that we could grow very quickly and try and capture the market and build as many barriers to entry for competition as possible, as quickly as possible. We were naive enough to think that we're going to be able to get that investment before there was any proof of concept, or before we'd actually started the company. That didn't happen. We made a lot of very nice contacts with people who say, the idea is great, you think you're great, you're nice young guys or whatever. But come back when you've got something which we can talk about. And so we eventually realized, okay, it's a catch-22. If we don't start the company, we're not going to be able to find the investment. And so we said, okay, let's just put our money in. And we each put some seed money in. Again, friends and family, we got as much as we could. And we said, okay, let's go. And that essentially bought us a runway of about 5 months, where we knew that we had money to live for about 5 months until we go bankrupt. And once you start, you can't go back. So we said, okay, let's do it. We opened the company. And then we hit a small bump in the road. About a month after we opened the company, there was a small event in the world called the global financial crisis, which made getting $2 million somewhat difficult. And essentially, all of the people who we spoke to said, yeah, it's just not going to happen in the next year. Actually, you know what? If anyone here is looking to get money, no one's ever going to say no to you. They'll say yes, 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 and then just nothing's ever going to happen about it. You'll probably hear that from other people as well. So we basically went through some really tough months, about 9 months of literally living week to week. It was next week, that's it, we're closing the company, there's no money left. And then we'd find somebody who knows somebody who puts in another 50,000 shekels and 100,000 shekels here. And essentially we just crawled our way through the year, growing relatively slowly. We started with 3 cars, by the way. We were growing relatively slowly. We were doing everything ourselves. Again, 17-hour days, we'd wash the cars. We used to do customer service, 24-hour customer service by ourselves. It essentially meant that you just do follow me to a mobile phone, which is next to your bed, and then you get 4 phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning of somebody who wants to, I don't know, extend their reservation for 10 minutes. You'd be smiling, and then you sort of, after 4 calls throughout the night and not sleeping, you'd get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and be in our little office without any windows and probably going again, washing cars, taking phone calls, at the same time trying to lobby the Knesset to try and get authorization. I mean, it was crazy. So on one side you're washing a car, and then you're speaking to somebody who's the personal assistant of some Chaver Knesset, so you can get car to go recognized as public transport. Really crazy times. And then essentially we eventually did get the money. We got an investment from a company called Pointer, who owns a company called Shaglir. Shaglir is like the road service here in Israel. They gave us the $2 million which we needed, which was really we sort of, at the time, we thought that was the end of the road. We didn't realize that was just the start of the road when we got the money. But from then, things have really been interesting. The company's grown. We've got about 45 workers now, and we've got 200 cars. It happened in about 3.5 years. And me and my two partners, obviously, together with Shaglir, have been a really good support. About 8 months ago, we took on another very big project where we essentially said, okay, we don't want to buy technology anymore from other people. We sort of live in one of the world's technology superpowers, and we took a big project where we developed our own technology, which we now sell to other car sharing companies around the world. And it's probably less known about Car2Go. We recently made some very big sales overseas, and it's interesting business which is just slowly starting to pick up. And that's it. I'm about 6 months ago, lucky enough to I saw Car2Go was pretty stable. I didn't have to be there anymore. So I took the opportunity to travel a little bit, went to India, went to Indonesia, had about 4 or 5 months off. Got back and moved to Eilat with my wife, opened up a bikini shop, which has been great fun. And yeah, now we just got back to Tel Aviv, selling that up, and we've had a little bit of profit there as well, which has been nice. And that's more or less what I am. Car2Go, I work as a director, obviously, and I'm sort of involved with all sorts of different projects. Yeah, I think that's it. If anyone's got any questions, feel free. No, actually, we started off in Tel Aviv. Now we have a service in Ra'anana and Givatayim. Ra'anana and Givatayim, we actually have parking on the street, which, if you know, this blue and white on the street parking in Tel Aviv and other places. So we actually have green and white parking, which is solely dedicated to Car2Go cars. So in Ra'anana, we're in Givatayim, we're in Tel Aviv. We're probably going to Herzliya and Hodashon very, very soon. And we've actually just signed a very big partnership with the Israel Trains Association, where we've just spread cars along all the northern stations from Tel Aviv up until Haifa. We've put 2 cars in every one of the stations, and that's a pilot. If that goes well, then we're probably going to put up to 5 or 10 cars at every single railway station in Israel.
Sorry guys, we're going to leave actually the questions for after. We're going to let each of the panel speak, and we'll ask them a couple of questions. Myself will, and then we'll open it up to the audience.
Cool. Okay. My name is Evan Lever. I'm also originally from Australia. Actually, born in South Africa. Long story. We'll get to it in a minute. And I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called DataBank. Basically, the concept of DataBank is the off-site storage, management, and transportation of computer backup media. What that essentially means is companies all over the world, all over Israel, they back up their data. Generally, they back it up to a thing called backup tape or to a disk. Now, the reason they do this is because if their building burns down, there's a fire, a missile falls on their roof, whatever happens, they need to have a copy of their data to recover their business and continue running their business. Now, obviously, this data cannot sit on site; it needs to go out of the company. So, the concept of the service that DataBank runs is we've got a fleet of 9 vans driving around the country, going from company to company, picking up the most recent set of data. It's transported in our vans, which is a specially modified vehicle. It's sort of like a Brinks van, which is then transported to an underground vault, which we have located in Petah Tikva. We manage there about 300,000 backup media items for about 800 companies. Most of our customers are medium to enterprise level. Pretty much in this room, all your data, all your personal data is probably sitting in our vault, whether it's credit card information, banking, insurance, you name it, it's sitting inside DataBank. So that's the concept of DataBank. In 2010, last year, we set up DataBank Online, which is for small business, which is basically a cloud backup solution where companies can back up their data through the internet. About myself, I was born in South Africa. I grew up in Australia. When I was 18, I came on a program called Nafte. I left Israel, saying there's no chance in a million years I'm going to come and live in Israel. I was wrong. Then went back to Australia. I was very involved in the youth movements. And I kept coming back to Israel during university, and I saw there was this whole high-tech boom, and it seemed like quite an exciting place to be. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to come to Israel, 6 months, do an Ulpan, maybe I'll try to find a job. So I started Ulpan with